Hey y'all, this is your boy Mr. Product Reviews, and today we are doing something of a kind of like collaboration with my wife, Mrs. Product Reviews.
Hey everybody, Mrs. Product Reviews here.
And so today we are going to do a quick review on just to make sure I won't mess this up, the hair mineral analysis from Nutrafol. So basically, this analysis, you basically get a free hair mineral analysis from Nutrafol after you use the supplement for 3 months. So this service, for now, is completely free at the moment. And I believe, Mrs. Product Reviews, you mentioned that when you spoke to the doctor, that this service may not be free, right? In the future.
Yeah, when I was speaking with my doctor, when we were going over my analysis, she said for the time being, to her knowledge, as long as you have used Nutrafol for 3 or more months and are currently using it, this is free. It's gratis. If it changes in the future, she has no knowledge of when and how. It's not her division. But until then, she's doing her job and talking with people about their hair mineral analysis reports.
Yeah. So yeah, so all right, so like, you know, if you are already taking Nutrafol, you might want to just kind of like check back on like when your first purchase was, just so you know you can take advantage of this analysis. Because I personally, I felt that I got you know some very interesting data points that I didn't have in the past. And do you feel the same way, Mrs. Product Reviews?
Oh yeah, I was really. There were blind spots in my nutrition that it completely shocked me where I was, excuse the term, anemic. I am misusing that as a perfect term, but it surprised me, and it has definitely made a change, and I can already see where I'm benefiting from it. I can see it, and I can feel it.
Yep. Okay. So, you know, unless there's anything else you want to add, I thought that maybe we can just maybe start with my report first.
Sure.
And then we could go with your report, and then we can like
left to right.
Left to right. Okay, that sounds good to me. So, just a quick note on the left, if you guys can see my mouse, this report is my report on the left. And on the right is basically my wife's, Mrs. Product Reviews, hair report on the right. So mine is on the left and my wife's on the right. So, you know, without further ado, and again, like I just wanted to point out that, you know, I'm not a medical professional, what have you. So like, you know, I'm definitely less knowledgeable than my wife. But then to me, this is kind of like still a good takeaway. So I might, comb through some of the things that I probably don't know too much about, and I'm sure my wife would correct me or add to it, if you will. So so this is my report. So how they break it down is, as you guys can see for a while now, that like it starts out with toxic metal that's in your hair, and then followed by a section on nutritional elements, and then followed by the significant ratio and also other elements in a report. So I would assume that, like, you know, based on the report on how it's ordered, I guess, you know, priority is you probably want to know about your toxic metal, and then your nutritional elements, and then your significant ratio and other elements. That's kind of how I see it, and that's kind of like how I would prioritize it from most important to least important, if you will. And is there anything you want to add with this layout, or like things that maybe viewers should be paying attention to?
Well, we'll get to it near the bottom, but one of the biggest things is the ratio. I'm not going to nerd out on you guys because you're just here for the takeaways. But as we go through these reports for my husband and myself, looking at the ratios of the minerals, the way they work together in the body, not just their presence, but their presence and the proper ratio. That is what allows for biochemical responses and healing and growth and chemical physical balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad to see that. So you're going to see some things for both of us that will look like, oh my gosh, you're deficient, or you've got enough of that. And the ratio, it may be off, or it may be perfect, even if it's over or under abundant. And I'm going to censure myself because I'm nerding out here.
Okay. So, so just real quick too, and my wife just pointed out is you'll notice that our name and stuff is not on here, and also the doctor's name is not on here, and this is just strictly for privacy kind of thing. But I can assure you that these are our reports, and so. Just real quick too. So how does the process work in terms of getting this hair mineral analysis report? So what happens is you do your 3 months, right, of Nutrafol. You send an email to customer support, just telling them hey, I use your supplement for 3 months. This is my account. At least that's what I did. I sent my account info to them and basically say, here, you can verify it, and then they basically send you a kit. And in that kit, we kind of did a previous video just on the kit itself, and you should be able to see it somewhere around in this video somewhere. I'll definitely make sure I post a link or a card somewhere in regards to that. So we did a quick review on that, on what that kit looks like, and so I'm not gonna go too much into the kit. So you get the kit, you put your hair samples in there, and then you send it back to them, and we had a little bit of a mix-up with information and what have you, and I think we got our results back a month later. Is that right?
Yeah, and I was looking at the dates.
Yeah.
You actually received your information before I did, yet the inverse is what I see on the dates.
Right.
So, but they sent it all to your email address rather than to mine.
Yeah, because I inquire for the doctor when I do an interview. So there was a little bit of mix-up. So I'm hoping that they probably have, smoothed that out. But I would probably advise the viewers that just be diligent. With customer support. That's kind of what I did actually. I eventually contacted them again and be like, hey, I submitted my samples. What's the dealio? What's going on? And they were very responsive about it. And so eventually we got a report. But then for us, it was like a month. And I want to say that maybe if we didn't have that mix up, it would probably be maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It looked like between submitting it and them having it ready, right?
Yeah.
Was fairly short.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we would think that if everything is smooth, it's probably 2 or 3 weeks that you'll probably get a result. So then they'll send you the report first. They'll send you the report, and then in that email they include kind of I forgot what the app name was called, but pretty much they will ask you to sign up to this app so that you can schedule an appointment to talk to your doctor. And the doctor that we're talking about, they're not MDs, right? They're not doctor of medicine. They're doctor of what?
They're naturopathic medicine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys know this or not. Medical doctors are trained in disease. Naturopathic doctors are, and other what's referred to as alternative medicine doctors are also, their focus is on health. And so they approach things very different. The curriculum to become a doctor in these two different disciplines, philosophies of medicine really, there's much more nutritional understanding that's just hardwired into the curriculum to become a naturopathic doctor. And so their understanding of what's happening, the different processes that it can advance or impede, the consequences, the implications, they're going to be on top of it. Plus, Nutrafol is based on this. One of the founders of Nutrafol is a medical doctor who was starting to lose her own hair, and she is one of the founders. And so all of this is just, it's research driven, it's nutrition driven, and so it's a natural extension that the doctors who'd be hired to talk with consumers are those who can talk turkey, who can really, how does it matter? Why is it important? What does this mean? What do I do now? Yep. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. So then you talk to your doctor, and then you basically
he or she will be there to kind of like go through this report with you. Is very informative. To me, it almost felt like, because I'm not in the profession or anywhere close to in a biological world, what have you, a lot of the information to me, I mean, it's still good information, but I feel like it was a little bit over my head, because like I mentioned, I'm not in this industry or in this area, but I felt it was good information. But at the same time, I kind of felt like I wish there were like a readable report. But having said all that, though, at the end of the call, my doctor, I don't know if your doctor did, but my doctor did recommend me a list of supplements that I should take, and I guess the same thing for you.
Yeah, mine did as well.
Okay, yeah. So without further ado, we'll just I would just go through kind of like my report real quick, and then my wife's report, and then we can and then there's probably some general questions you guys are interested in asking. I'll probably rattle those out too, and so like. Pretty much this is my report, and as you guys can see, I have like a high level of barium over here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it just so happen that this is a false positive. This is actually based on what the doctor said. She said that the barium and calcium are very much alike with the spectrometry. I believe.
And the sensitivity and the way it's read.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this is a false positive. So I don't have a high level of barium. But as you can see, I have a high down here from calcium. I have a high level of calcium, above normal calcium, so this kind of like corroborates with this false positive over here that you see. And pretty much like I mentioned earlier, I'm sure my wife can help me supplement what I'm going to say next. But pretty much my takeaway from this report is the fact that the biggest takeaway is when she said you have a crazy level of potassium and crazy level of sodium. What that really signifies that I'm stressed out with work. And so my takeaway is basically like I need to de-stress. Whatever that means, right? To de-stress, to get this level down. And so that's kind of like my biggest takeaway. And like, is there anything that I might have missed in this report?
Oh, yes. Sulfur. Sulfur, absorbable sulfur, because it's more bioavailable sulfur that we get through foods. Just to rattle it off, the cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, the cruciferous vegetables are high in sulfur. And sulfur is what is used as a building block for skin, for hair, for nails. It is a crucial building block for growing hair. And if you do not have enough, then it's the limiting factor. It's sort of like trying to build, to use this analogy, sulfur ends up being the bricks. And so if you're trying to build a brick house and you only have 3.5 pallets of bricks and you need 10 pallets to build a full brick house, you stop. You stop halfway. You never complete the house because you don't have enough. The lower number of bricks becomes a limiting factor. And to transfer that analogy here, sulfur, which is essential for building skin, building hair, it's the limiting factor. And that ends up being critical. So yes, you're highly stressed. That also creates, this, it's an inflammatory environment because of the stress hormones. And the stress hormones, we all, I'm really stressed out. My sleeping is erratic. I'm noticing myself always jittery. Maybe I can't focus my attention. All these little things that we, living in a body that gets stressed out, we notice this. We don't think about what do we do? So it has a biochemical response with the inflammation, and there's a cascade of biochemical bad things that get activated by high stress hormone in the body.
Yeah. And I guess this over down here too. I have again, like when my doctor was talking about significant ratio down here, she was like, "Well, this further kind of confirms my stress because of my high calcium to iron level." And then I guess the expected is 21 and 109, and I'm like off the chart.
Yeah.
205, right? And so again, just one of those things where I just need to manage my stress. But it's hard these days when you work in a fast-paced
Oh my gosh.
environment, in the middle of Silicon Valley. But it is what it is, and like I'm trying to do some certain things about it, like try to find ways to de-stress myself, like to me playing video games is a way for me to de-stress.
Meditation.
Yeah, meditation. Yes, meditation definitely, definitely. So if I think I'm pretty good going over my report. Should we go over your report, or should we stick?
No,
Are there any things we want to talk about here, or?
Well, I'm just going to reinforce when we have an inflammatory environment within the body, it causes that cascade. It's like an explosion outward, that what should be happening is not. And yeah, I'm really glad you pointed out the calcium iron being off the chart. And you would think initially, oh, well, you want calcium, you want iron. Well, yes and no. Because getting the right balance, the right ratio it's like the air we breathe, the right amount of oxygen, nitrogen, helium, all the gases that make up atmospheric oxygen that we breathe. If we had too much nitrogen and not enough oxygen, well, that's not so good. If we had too much oxygen and no nitrogen at all, again, not good. And so like the atmosphere we breathe, the internal atmosphere of our bodies, it can be completely wonked out from the stress hormone doing wonky things. And the implications, especially over time, are significant to our health. And our hair is the canary in the cave. Our hair and our skin. It's the first thing to start showing, but it's also the first thing to start recovering. So.
Okay. Alrighty. So should we maybe go over? Yeah, let's look at your report. So I'm gonna just kind of like move this.
Because I'm really happy with mine.
Yeah, you're really happy with yours. Yeah. Okay. So all right. Anyway, I'm just gonna move it back. Actually, this might be better. Yeah. All right. So all right, take it away.
Well, the doctor that I got, she was very professional, but because you can tell I'm a very buoyant personality, she and I got talking, and I got her laughing a little bit. The first thing she said to me was she congratulated me on having such a non-toxic internal environment. She was not used to seeing that at all. And of course, I'm preening at that because I take great care in eating the right way and organic and lots of fruits and vegetables and no wheat or very little wheat and very little sugar or no sugar at all. And I've been doing this for 15, 16 years now.
And you rarely do fast food, right?
No
fast food.
No fast food.
Yeah,
I mean, what can I eat?
Yeah.
You're the fast food guy.
Yeah. So just a quick comparison to the viewer. I like fast food. So this is a fast food diet versus a non-fast food diet for the viewer that are interested. But anyway.
So that was the first thing. It made me feel real good. What was a huge eye-opener for me, because I'm over 40. You wouldn't know it by my energy level, yay, but I'm over 40 and I take really good care. I do use hormone replacement therapy and I use it very balanced. I am a finely tuned machine and I'm doing great. It's been 15 years. But I had no idea that my calcium and my magnesium and my sulfur, here I was going on about sulfur and my own was low. I was completely shocked by that. And it's not just taking sulfur, it's absorbable sulfur like MSM, methylsulfonylmethane. And I had not been relying on it to supplement outside of Nutrafol and the good vegetables. So even with that, it was a huge shocker for me, and I have since gotten myself a good calcium, magnesium, zinc, and D3 supplement with all of those 4 together. And that I also happen to have some good old MSM, and I've started supplementing with that to catch up. And at some point, I will be fine, and I probably will not be supplementing daily. It'll probably be 2 or 3 times a week or once a week, because I'll be at a good point. But that was a huge shock. And of course, boron, I have no idea why that would be above average. And even though boron is very good for building bones, and it's what's used in building bones, telling calcium what to do, boron and vitamin D and magnesium are what are the gateway to calcium being absorbed properly. And my bones are extremely dense. They're more dense and strong than the average. I did have a bone mineral analysis not too long ago, and my doctor said, wow, your bones are stronger than the average 18-year-old woman. What happened to you? You know, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You know. But still, looking at this, it was a shocker. And of course, you're looking down here with zinc. Low zinc levels are classic for hair loss. And of course, I've got my father's, even though I am a woman, it's interpreted through the sex, but I still have so much of my father's male pattern baldness as interpreted through the female. And so I need as much zinc as I can get, and my heavens, this was a huge shock. And copper and iron. And again, I was shocked that my iron was so low. And here's the thing, is it's very possible between my Nutrafol and my diet, I am getting plenty of iron, but absorbing it is entirely different than getting enough of it. So anybody can serve you a fine meal, but if your mouth is taped shut, you're not going to make use of it. And that is where absorbability of your nutrients and maximizing your food. My doctor, she actually recommended this to both of us for digestive enzymes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yep. And also either and or, depending on, I'm doing both at this point, apple cider vinegar and water.
Oh, okay.
Now, she didn't explain how to administer this.
My doctor did.
Oh, tell me.
She basically said, you know, shoot, I don't remember, but it was one or the other, either before meal, 3 times a day, or do it in the morning. I can't remember, but it was one or the other.
Well, for years, I did the apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons and a tall thing of warm or hot water first thing in the morning. I did that for years. But in the last few years, I've kind of slacked off in favor of other things, or just because I got out of the habit. And so, just so you know, the environment of the stomach, the acids and other secretions and enzymes that are present in the stomach, this is where the absorption starts to happen. The mouth is where it starts to break down the food as you're chewing, and all the enzymes that are produced in your saliva. The breakdown of the food and digestion technically starts in your mouth, but the environment within the stomach. As we get older, we produce less acid and fewer enzymes, and that is the reason as we get older, many people are having reflux, they're having indigestion, because those cells that produce these chemicals are not in abundance, and they're not producing the amount that they did when they were younger that is necessary for breaking down and absorbing the food. And so you sort of truss up and help out nature by, digestive enzymes and the apple cider vinegar, chances are, because I've gone back to doing it first thing in the morning, but chances are if you really wanted to maximize this, you would be doing the apple cider vinegar in the water with every meal.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like before meal.
Yeah, before a meal to kind of get the enzyme in the stomach so the food hits it and it's ready to go.
Exactly.
Or what we're doing is just doing the digestive enzymes, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I happen to, because I personally don't like the smell or the taste of vinegar, I actually bought some apple cider vinegar pills.
Oh, that's right,
in
you did.
Costco.
You did.
So I've been just taking that as a supplement.
How do you feel that's working?
Honestly, I don't really feel like it really moved the needle for me. But at the same time, I don't feel like I'm taking a step back either.
Okay.
Like, but at the same time, I feel like my body isn't as sensitive as yours. I feel like your body kind of like gives you all these signals. My body is like sometime it gives me the signal, and most of the time it just doesn't. So,
Mr. Fast Food Diner here.
I think that's what it is. I think it's my fast food, guys. It's my fast food. But yeah. So do you want to talk about kind of like are you done talking about the mainly cofactor, or should we move down to your significant ratio?
I think just to you and I both are highly stressed, and it shows.
Yeah. High potassium, high sodium. Yep.
Yeah, and even though I have a fairly low sodium diet, my body retains it and hangs on to it. And remember I was talking earlier about the inflammatory cascade and from the stress hormones, cortisol and all the others. That's going on for me too. And inflammation is the root of all aging and all pathology, all disease.
I kind of feel like I could be totally wrong. I mean, this is just 2 samples, 2 data point.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like this is probably going to be very similar to a lot of like first world countries type kind of workers, because we're at least maybe I don't know about other countries, but at least in the US, where our environment is so fast paced. And I mean personally, sometimes I hardly have time for my wife, as you know, right? Because we're just so busy.
It's true, folks.
Yeah. So, like, I think this is probably pretty similar to a lot of the general population in U.S. I like I said, I don't know, but like if I have to take a guess, I think this will be very.
I think so, with the exception of people maybe in Denmark or Nepal.
Yeah, or unless you're like a monk.
Well, that's such an artificial existence. Your needs are taken care of, and all you have to do is, your religious ablutions. Oh my God, it's such an artificial. Yeah, it's not real world.
Yeah. So anyway, like I guess maybe we can move on to the significant ratios on yours, and just real quick, like
let's look. Yeah, let's compare the
comparison.
Compare significant ratios, because it's a bit surprising.
It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red. You have 7 red, so I win. I don't think it works that way, right?
Not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
But remember I began this whole chit chat with the ratios, even if they are under or they're below normal or above normal, if the ratio is still in balance, which is what your physiology, your body seeks, is balance, because that allows for homeostasis, maintenance of what is normal and healthy. That is homeostasis, functioning, healthy homeostasis. So the ratio is very important, and your calcium phosphorus my calcium and phosphorus was low.
Calcium no, this is.
What is that?
This is P is what?
It's not potassium, because potassium's K.
Yeah, potassium is K. Phosphate?
Yeah.
Phosphate? Yeah, phosphate.
Well, yeah, it's pH. That's how it's spelled.
Okay.
So phosphorus is a limiting factor in environments, whether it's a biological environment like your body or a ecological environment like a alpine meadow or lake. Phosphorus is one of the essential building blocks of DNA, and it's also the least abundant naturally in the environment, so it's the limiting factor. So if just the analogy that I was talking earlier about bricks, building a brick house, when do you stop? When you run out of bricks, the house doesn't go any farther. Phosphorus is the same, and it's more critical. And so I'm looking here at my own phosphorus being completely out of whack. And yet, look up here at mine, I've got plenty of phosphorus.
Yeah, you're normal. Yeah.
But the phosphorus calcium ratio, that is completely out of whack. So the calcium, absorbable calcium, bioavailable calcium, which the easiest, the low-hanging fruit for that is calcium citrate.
Yeah, I mean, just from what you just said, just kind of like a quick eyeball is you're good in phosphorus, but you're not good in calcium.
Correct.
You're below normal. So I get, this kind of like corroborates with this report. Yeah.
And this was another eye-opener for me. And it's like, well, no wonder I was losing some hair. No wonder I was having trouble growing it back. No wonder. The Nutrafol is fantastic, but the Nutrafol assumes that your mineral analysis, your ratios are good. And this is why I think that Nutrafol is implemented this as a service, because they can't be the entire package for everybody. Every single body is different. Right. But they can help it, providing you know how to help yourself. And that's where this all comes in. So looking at that, and you, Mr. Eating Fast Food, look at that. You actually have a really good calcium to phosphorus balance. Damn you. You're better than I am, and you shouldn't be, but you are.
Eat your fast food, guys. No, don't eat fast food. No, don't take that advice. That's bad advice.
And honestly, does this have to do with both being female and being middle-aged? Absolutely. Women going through perimenopause and menopause, all of that is a different chemical balance that goes through a change. That is not studied enough. We are low priority in the medical world. I'm going to get all political here, but does that make a difference? Yeah, and that's on me as an individual with this kind of feedback. This is very good feedback to guide me. And I can bring this to my doctor, to my GYN and my general practitioner and say, this is what was going on. And chances are they'll be able to have some good feedback from this. Even though medical doctors are not trained in nutrition, they are trained in basic key markers of health. And this will make sense to them. Okay. But anyway, so going back down here, you won. You had fewer little red marks. And the calcium phosphorus, which means your ability to grow hair, is easier because of your calcium phosphorus balance, the ratio being good. So no wonder your hair grafts have become beautiful.
So so I guess kind of like the next thing is I kind of like want to bring it back home a little bit for the viewers.
I'm geeking out.
I mean, like, if you guys want more information about these ratio, we can definitely make a separate video. Like, if you guys are interested in learning more, just from us, take key takeaways and whatnot. But instead of dragging this video on and on, I'm sure you guys are kind of like interested in knowing kind of like like the experience that we had with the respective doctors that we talked to.
We had two different doctors.
So I had one doctor and my wife had another doctor. So with my experience, maybe it's just the way that I talk, because like you mentioned earlier to me, like off camera, that I'm a very kind of like pragmatic person, and so I felt like my conversation with my doctor was a little bit less conversational, but at the same time though, maybe it's just the way that I talk. I'm kind of clippy and very pragmatic. So I guess I felt like it was a little bit less conversational. However, I did, she did her job. She gave me all the science and the facts. And to be honest, some of them just went over my head because I'm simply
an average person.
Exactly, an average person. And my biology background is prerequisite, biology 101 type kind of science, and I haven't used it for decades now. So therefore a lot of them went over my head, but she did give me a list of supplements that I should take, which was good, and they make it really easy. So that service that I told you about, that like when you schedule this appointment with this doctor, you're signed this app, and in that app there's like this follow-up where the doctor will basically give you all the supplement in the sheet, and you could buy it directly through the app, or you could just take that information and go to Costco, go to Amazon, wherever you could maybe perhaps find your supplement cheapest, because I am definitely a value buyer. I like to shop around for prices sometimes. But that was kind of like my experience. How was your experience with your doctor?
Like I mentioned earlier, in the beginning she was very professional, but as you can tell, I'm the comedic factor. I'm the one that brings everything up in this relationship. So I started relating to her, and because I was able to ask some pretty high-level questions, she got excited that she could speak with me about things. And then we started to have a conversation that was a little lighter, but still very information dense, and I got a lot out of it. I liked her. It did not become a big bubbly conversation because, number one, she was still at work, and she was being very professional, but she was relating to me, and she could see that I would be easy to impart information. So I liked her. I thought she was just fine, and I know I got her laughing at one point, which made me feel good, and it helped the communication.
Yeah, I got my doctor laugh once, and then she went back to character.
Oh, well, she was at work.
Yeah, she went back to character.
She's probably being recorded.
Maybe, huh? Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know, but like, I thought your conversation with your doctor was way more pleasant than mine was. But like I said, I still think she did a great job.
Oh yeah, they both did.
And your doctor also gave you a list of supplements? Okay,
she did.
Okay, yeah, and it's a different list. I'm sure
it
it's
is.
a different
Well,
list.
I have entirely different blind spots in my mineral.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So that was definitely one question that that we got from the comments section in an earlier video that we posted, and so kind of like the next question I bet the viewer are kind of interested is, well, this is great, right? You got a report, you got some numbers, you got some data point. I mean, was this useful? Was this I mean, we kind of answered that question, but we just want to make sure, was this helpful? Was this actionable for you?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like I said, I had this misconception that I had great nutrition. I've been, doing my wheat, no sugar, high organic fruit, vegetable diet for all these years. I do eat meat, so I do get good quality protein. But apparently there are some factors that are preventing proper absorption, or I'm not as diverse in my diet as I thought, and I wasn't getting enough of what I really need. So, oh my gosh, actionable, the feedback and what I changed and what I will continue to monitor. Yes, very useful. And there's no way I could have known this without this.
Yeah. And this is kind of like another question from the comment section, but like I think we both somewhat answered this is, why does this report matters? I think we kind of answered that already, right? I mean, it matters lots. Like if you kind of like, what you want to know. What's that phrase? Is like if you want to know, you find out what you eat or whatever. That phrase. If you want to know a person, find out what they eat.
I've never heard that particular phrase before.
I'm kind of mixing it up.
You're mixing up two analogies or proverbs.
Yeah.
But this. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this kind of like this really kind of shows the two different diet that we have too, right? Like I'm very like, you know, I love my fast food, and then my wife that doesn't like my fast food, and then you could see there's definitely some correlation on heavy metals and what have you, and the ratio. I think all in all, I really feel like you probably have a better report than I do.
So do I.
Yeah. Yep. So I think this pretty much wraps it up for this hair mineral analysis. So, you know, I'm Mr. Product Reviews.
I'm Mrs. Product Reviews. Hope you entertained and got learned for your.
Yep. So we're both out.